Hey, welcome to the Lifestyle Creation Podcast, designing life on your terms. I'm your host, Jamie Thurber, and I'm an expert operations manager, productivity queen, mindset, business, and lifestyle coach. Basically, getting shit done is my jam. And I believe in the power of intentional living and in real conversations that can shift your perspective, create habits, and ultimately achieve the freedom that you want in every area of your life. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Lifestyle Creation Podcast. I am recording on a brand new fancy microphone and I'm very excited about it. It's the little things in life, my friend. Actually, this isn't a little thing. It's huge and it's fancy and I'm excited. But anyway, maybe you can tell the difference. If you can, I'd love to hear about it. Either way, it's definitely a more streamlined situation, which makes me happy. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that this is finding you well and that you are feeling great. And if not, I hope that this message here in our conversation can shift your mindset and raise your vibration a little bit and change the course of your day. So let's dive in. I wanted to talk a little bit about how seeking answers, I guess is maybe the way I should say that. I feel like a lot of times, if you really think about this, we're looking for answers as people, right? Almost to everything, all of the time. A lot of the reasons that we do, a lot of the things that we do each day is looking for something, looking for answers, trying to figure something out. Where do we want to go? How do we want to get there? Who can help me? Should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? What's the right way? I don't know the right way. Do I want this? Do I not want this? Do I really want this? How does it go? Like that kind of shit, right? Any of that sound familiar? A lot of that is happening, even if it doesn't feel as frantic as what I just described. It is still a constant thing that is happening and is a lot of the driving force behind why we do things that we do. But then there becomes this space of almost feeling pressured by the world or ourselves or our thought process or, whatever it is to be successful or better or doing well or achieving enough or whatever the rule is, right? There's this pressure to have a plan and to have a goal, to have a mission, to have a purpose. What's your purpose? Who knows what their purpose is? I'm trying to find my purpose. I hear this from people often. But if we're forcing that based on things that are outside of ourselves, let's say that 3 times freaking fast. Let me regroup. When you feel the pressure to have a plan, a goal, a mission, a purpose, know what your purpose is. But if you're forcing that based on things that are outside of yourself, then what are they really? What are the answers to those questions really if we're trying to force them based upon answers that we're seeking from outside sources or from what somebody else did somewhere that we think might be cool or whatever, right? And in a lot of cases, especially this is predominant, I'm recording this at the beginning of 2022. And so it's a relevant conversation for this time of year specifically. But this could be a big reason as to why you're not sticking to a plan, a goal, a mission, a purpose, why you're not fully quote unquote living your mission or your purpose in the way that you feel like you should, or maybe you don't feel connected to it. Part of that really can stem from why you set that plan or that goal in the first place. Why you adopted that thing as a mission or a purpose in the first place. And maybe even just the way you're connected to it. That doesn't mean that your mission or your purpose that you've decided upon is wrong and you need to rewrite it. It's just more of recognizing and connecting to the real reason, right? That's a big part of it. So the thought is maybe that's the reason that we don't stick to things, because those goals and those ideals might not really be yours. They might be so far influenced by the pressure of whomever or whatever to create them in a certain timely fashion or whatever it may be. There may be that pressure there that creates those goals or those things as not really your own. So you don't really feel connected to them. So the desire to fully engage and to fully commit isn't there. The desire to let it feel like something you breathe and that's part of who you are isn't always that connected feeling. I've been there. I've definitely experienced this of trying to operate business, even in standing on my own 2 feet and doing things so differently than everyone else. Since I started this company, there's still those aspects that were old school business thinking that was, this is how it's supposed to work. And it froze me and it kept me from feeling connected in a way that then was very mentally exhausting in a lot of cases. And I feel elated to some other issues and things like that too. But what I wanted to record today and explain and shine a little light on is that there's a key piece to really figuring out if that is something you are connected to or not, whose thoughts these really are, whose goals, missions, purposes, all of that stuff. And like, am I connected to this? Does this suit me? Does this fit? Is there a way that I can shift the thought process, the perception, the whatever it is, in a way that makes it feel, big keyword here being feel, more like me, right? So here's the other kicker. All of those answers that we're always looking for, where to go, how to get there, who to help me, all of the things that we're always seeking, the best place to go first is inside of you, which is terrifying to the majority. So don't, like, if that made you like almost choke, don't be alarmed. You're not the only one. But it's the truth. A lot of times people spend entirely too much time seeking answers outside of themselves that they have the power to, they already know, right? And if they were willing to slow down enough or be quiet enough for just a minute to check in with themselves and listen to that guidance and trust that guidance and establish that type of guidance relationship, then the answers that you need, you already have. Not to sound like a storybook or a Disney character or, a love song. It's just the truth though. Like, a lot of those things get made fun of and poked fun at, but they're created based upon truth. And what I mean by that is, like, you really do have answers inside of you. You just have to learn how to listen to them. And so a key piece to help with learning this and embodying this more often, so where your mission, your plans that you have, your goals that you set, your purpose in life that you're choosing to commit to feel like yours and they're connected to who you are. They're not forced. There's a reason that you want to do them every day. So you bounce out of freaking bed to do them every day. And then the sticking to the plan, I'm doing air quotes, you can't see me. The sticking to the plan becomes just that much easier for you to do, and that much more, even when things are not easy, right? Maybe when they're not simple or they're not going according to plan, there's just this commitment connection factor there that makes it a whole lot easier for you to stay on track or to stand back up when you're knocked down in those things. So a key piece of that is learning how to properly reflect. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean reflect back on people, not at all. What I mean is you to have this mindfulness practice of reflecting upon the day or the week or the month or the year in a way that allows you to learn what you need to learn from what's transpired, to take lessons, take tasks, take shifting things where you're like, okay, I see that this day didn't go super well. Or you're looking at the week and you're going, cool, the way that I plan these events or these calls or these meetings or this way that I planned out what I was going to do with my kids or whatever, it was a clusterfuck. Or it didn't work, or it didn't feel good. I felt stressed, I felt pressured. And then you can look at it and you can say, okay, why? And what can I shift to see? And this is something that I do in planning with my clients and I do in Operation Do, but like when it comes to planning and creating the perfect process for yourself, this is a big piece of it. But I'm talking in overall life. This is something when you can really learn to reflect back on what's transpired in a non-judgmental fashion, key component there. It's so important because everything happened. It's already done. You don't want to live in the past and be judging, oh, but what if I wouldn't have done that? Or what if I would have done it this way? Or I can't believe I did that. I'm such a bad person. Or damn, I'm really good. Whatever it is, maybe somebody is judging me. Maybe this, maybe, whatever the judgment is, there tends to be one. And so reflecting effectively in a way that lights you up and really is like a guiding point, like it's really a guiding light, I guess we could say, into moving forward into ways that suit you, into ways and plans that fit and goals that are yours and missions that feel in your bones like the thing you're fucking put here to do. Those things come from actively learning how reflection can be such a key component to you making sure you're always on track. And it's your track, right? Like, I don't know anybody who knows tarot, if you've ever seen the Hermit card in tarot. So those of you who don't, the Hermit card is in the traditional deck. He is a very tall man with a long beard in like a long cloak, and he's walking kind of up I guess you could call it like a dark pathway up a mountain, and he has a big lantern in his one hand in front of him, like guiding the way, right? I love that card. Some people are like, oh no, the Hermit. For me, I think, oh yes, like the mission, right? The mission is to follow my own light, to be my own guiding light, take the time when I need to reconnect to what I want and make sure I'm listening to my guiding paths, right? So the Hermit card is kind of what comes to mind in this situation. And so I think it's a beautiful, description. But basically, in that, I think we can learn so much from the ability to guide our own light and guide our own selves. And when we do that in a way that, what's the word I'm looking for? We do that in a way that is serving and honoring us, not the pressure of everything else. You perform. Here's the other people like, oh, that's great, Jamie. Sounds cute. But like, what about all the shit I need to get done, right? Well, trust me when I say that like the performance level as well as the peace in your life and the literally consistency, the focus, the desire, the passion, all of that will be heightened by learning and doing this type of practice that keeps you focusing on your own path, right? Like people always say eyes on your own lane, blah, blah, blah. Like these are all things that are great sayings, but there's a depth to it that I don't feel like is spoken about enough, right? And it's in that depth that we start to recognize the reasons, right? And you hear people talk about our why, like you need to know your why. What's your why? What's your reason? And it's like that can shift, right? But it really always has to be a part of you. Everyone will literally say when you ask them what their why is, if they have children, they'll tell you it's their kids immediately. Most people do. And it's because that's what we're supposed to say, right? When you ask people what they're grateful for, they say their family. And they probably are grateful for their family, and they probably do things that they do because of their kids to help their kids. But like, there's a deeper thing there. But we say those responses almost autonomously because it's what we're supposed to say, right? That's what makes us a good mom or a good sister or a good parent, right? No. What if we decided that we were going to figure out what is best for us and we're going to follow that guiding light and see how much that illumination of that literally positively impacts every single freaking thing in our lives? Because trust me when I tell you that it will. That passion will no longer be something that you're having to fabricate every fucking day. Like the desire to do the things will no longer be something that you're having to dig so deeply for that you can barely even come up and muster up the energy to complete it, right? Like those things, that fight, like it's like a fight to do stuff in places where it doesn't need to be. And this is a key, and this is a way to learn how to do that. So I'm going to give you a few tips on reflection, and it's something that I suggest. Like I do it every day to an extent. Like I look back at the day and say, okay, what did I accomplish? What didn't work out? Is there anything that I see that I didn't like or that I did like? That's the other part. It's like, oh, I really enjoyed the way that I had that conversation, or I really enjoyed how I, stood up for myself there, or I enjoyed the day and I found joy in that thing, or this thing, happened. For me, flexibility was always not an easy thing. I never was flexible with my time and my stuff. I was very rigid with it. And so now when I notice places where I was really flexible, I look at that as a joy piece and I learn from it. And I take that in for a minute and say, damn, good job, Jamie, right? So these are all growth moments. And what we don't realize is a lot of our self-confidence issues, our self-worth things, questioning ourselves, having doubt, a lot of that comes from these voices in these conversations that I did this wrong, I shouldn't have done that, what if I did this? And a lot of that stuff is fabricated in our heads. And we're not even looking at fact and fiction. We're not looking at the black and white in the way that our day played out, right? The other reason that doing this daily can be so powerful is that if you're trying to establish a new way of being, you're trying to make sure that you're very clear about the way you're being treated and the way you're treating other people and how people may be respecting you or your time or whatever it may be. Maybe it's how you're respecting yourself and your body. This allows you the ability to check in such a cool way where you're learning in those moments and it's not so far gone that you're not feeling the feelings anymore. Like a lot of times when I first started completely reestablishing every auto response that I had and saying, I have no more of these automatic thoughts. I do not want these automatic thoughts. When I started babysitting those and really deciding I was going to dive deep into them and really like reconstruct the way that it was working, what I did was I went through, and it was these daily reflections that allowed me to then speak up in the moments. Like, even if I had said something earlier in the day, I would go back and revisit it with the person if I felt like I wasn't clear, I felt like I didn't, do what I would have preferred in those cases, right? And it really just allows you to see in places of growth and places of knowledge and, those kinds of deals, and shift accordingly. And the same thing happens when you're working on like an actual plan or goal. When you're looking weekly, so say we were to have this big goal, right, that you wanted to establish by the end of the first quarter of this year. And so you tell me what the goal is, and we get really freaking clear on where you're at right now, where you're wanting to go, right? So then we reverse engineer backwards, which is the best way to create a good solid plan for a goal. If you're listening to this and you don't write that down and use that as a tool, like you just got a bunch of coaching for free. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. It's really like legitimately golden information, but so you reverse engineer backwards and you do it in a realistic fashion. Oh, Jamie, my goals shouldn't be realistic. No, fuck you. Like, they need to be pretty close. And as far as something that you can actually accomplish, right? And that how you can accomplish in a lot of cases. And so in a way, we don't have to know the exact how, but we do reverse engineer steps and things that are moving us in that direction. And so by doing that, again, when I say you don't know the exact path how, that's why these weekly check-ins or monthly check-ins are so valuable, is because you start to see, okay, this is working and getting me closer to this goal. And now I'm seeing a little bit clearer the way this is going to work. Or this thing is not feeling like it's getting me closer. This doesn't make any sense. It actually was the exact opposite of what I anticipated, right? And so then you adjust accordingly and you start to do what you can to recourse yourself or change your course back closer to your destination. So like that's where the reflection comes into place into that. And it's just a tool that you can use where, like I said, you're not living in the past, you're not living in the future, you're actually very present in the moment and learning how to be very present in the moment while acknowledging what's happening and what's not, what had happened and what didn't, what's working for you and what's not. That ability to do some reflection, it really allows you not only to grow in those places, but also to establish rules for yourself or like guidelines of what you actually do like to do or what you actually want to use your time for, what you do enjoy and what you don't enjoy, or what you're really great at and what you're not really great at, who you like to work with and who you don't like to work with. Like, there's so much data that can be gathered through choosing to have this art of reflection, right? So that was a lot of information I just thrown at you. I'm trying to give you, it's a robust topic. And so I wanted to give you some stuff that you could take away right now and start incorporating into your world right now. You guys know that's always my goal in this space. The other thing that I wanted to kind of just open the conversation to is that we are doing a lot more programs and things in the coming year, in 2022. That's been the goal. I spent a lot of time in 21 preparing and creating a bunch of stuff so that I can be establishing and offering different layers of things for people outside of what was there before, which was really just group coaching and private coaching for the most part, right? And so this conversation of reflection was something that I started utilizing a couple of years ago around New Year resolutions. When people wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions instead, I went through and I discussed to them why reflection and learning the value of getting really clear on what worked and what didn't, what you want, what you're feeling, the way that you want your life to be like each day, and really getting deep into those things. The reason that I started to teach reflection in that time frame is because that's really the key to creating plans and goals and destinations that we're wanting to get to that serve us. And those are the things we stick to. I don't like the idea of people creating all these goals that feel so pressured from everywhere else, right? And then or don't really even feel like theirs, and they don't stick to them anyways. None of that makes any sense to me. Like, it feels like a big fucking waste of time. And so I started teaching the art of reflection in the depth that it can be. And what we did was we took that and we turned it into a course, or a program, I should say. It's not really a course. There's a big live aspect, but there's a program, and it includes, I think there's a total of 12 videos that will be released over a 5-week window. It's about 5 weeks long. Each week there's a lesson that with homework that's released, and it's not like lengthy. It's not like it's extremely overwhelming by any means. the coursework and that isn't. So, but then each week there's also then a live aspect where we're discussing and we're getting, personalized information, personalized coaching together in order to really get deep on these pieces of the reflection so that like when you walk out the other side, you're so fucking clear and so amped and so armed, I guess you could say, to really hit the new year and the new whatever your goals may be or whatever they are that you're wanting to focus on. You feel really empowered around it and really connected to it in a way that like there's just no fucking way in hell that you're not going to stick to it. And that's the ultimate goal. So that's something that we're launching later on this month that will happen in February. If you're interested in that, keep your eyes open for that. Make sure you follow me on social media. If you're listening to this after, I don't know, the 17th maybe of January, we'll put the link in the comments or in the show notes here too, but you can always shoot me an email now because there will be early bird specials. So if it's something that you're interested in, there'll be like a $200 and something savings if you sign up first like couple of days that it goes for sale. If that is something you're interested in, you don't want to miss out on the details before, obviously you'll get the details before you make a decision, but you can send me an email. My email address is below, or it's me, which is me, at jamiethurber.com. I would love to have you there. I feel like this is one of those gifts. It doesn't matter where you are in life, what you do for a living, if you have a job, a business, or you don't have a job, if you're married, you're not married, if you're 30, if you're 60, if you're 20, like it doesn't matter. These are all things that are so beneficial and so powerful to go through, and having a guide and having somebody to stand next to you while you're doing it and really get to the bottom of things and really get to that reflection and that clarity. It's so fucking powerful. So I hope that you hear that in my voice. I hope that you felt something in this today and can take away from that and start thinking about it, but then also will join me in that course. That would be beautiful. Or in that program, I would love to see you there. As always, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and for tuning into the Lifestyle Creation Podcast. I love you wherever you are. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Go forth into the world and do great things. Until next time, bye.